And we are back here for the Los Alamitos weekend preview. I'm your host, Jose Contreras, joined by Christopher Wade, your Los Alamitos analyst there every single night from the paddock and from Burgarts. And wherever we might find a camera, we'll put Chris Wade there and try to give you the analysis. If it's on the roof, we'll put him on the roof, give you a new angle there from the roof. And welcome here back to Christopher Wade. Well, by the way, Chris, you started off the consensus selections with the winner last week, and it was a good night of selections last weekend there for the consensus.
Yeah, we numbers are pretty solid, and pick six came with some long shots along the way and paid very, very nice. Now, pick fours were pretty good there as well, but a little bit short the last race with our top choice. One of our better bets got rambunctious in the paddock and broke slow and lost all chance, but had a pretty productive night, however.
It was a good night of 2-year-old trials for the Burke Futurity. We'll have that final coming up on Father's Day on May 18th. So this weekend there are no major stakes events to kind of highlight this weekend at Los Al. But next week on the weekend of June 11th, we'll have the Vessel's Maturity Trials. And then the weekend after that will be the Father's Day weekend, which will be the day of the Burke Million Final. Let's talk about Saturday night's card. 10 races. We got a good mix of thoroughbreds and quarter horse events in this 10-race program. But I know you're going to take us here to race number 7. Yeah,
the late pick 4 Little Lifter. I'm going to give Cruz a big look there for Paul Jones. His barn's been going great guns as of late. And this was improved from the first workout. I gave it a C, the second drill to a B, and did show a good amount of run in that debut, despite breaking very, very slowly. Was bumped back and was crossed. Was finishing pretty well on half the affair to be a relatively close up fifth, but earned a pretty good figure on my charts with everything factored in.
Race number 7, Boost Cruz in gate number 5 in race number 7. Let's take a look at that replay there for May 14th, where she did take some money, Chris. She went off at 4-1 this night.
Yeah, like I said, she did improve from first drill to second drill, and there from post 5, she back bobbled away from the gate and was fell back steadily, was crossed, but had a sized individual and was starting out very well the final half. Affair, she back bobbled and was kind of slow in the stride, was basically crossed to lose the best position, but like I said, it's a nice size runner and was finishing much better than shown the final half of the affair, and was starting out well under a hold near the wire and galloped out relatively well. She's a nice size individual and was moving nicely near the wire.
So there is Boost Cruz there in gate number 5, and I like that she didn't completely quit after that slow start there from that debut run, Chris.
Yeah, she didn't break all that well, kind of slow in the strides. A big body runner, needed a little time to get rolling. This filly was finishing very nicely in the final half of the affair, and a nice gallop out, and with everything factored in, trouble track, earned a pretty good figure on my chart. So it was improved second start, and this has a big look there at 92 or so as our top choice in that 7th event, the late big 4 Little Lifter.
And not only is Paul Jones barn a good role here, especially with his 2-year-olds for that qualified. I believe he qualified 3 to the Burke Million Final, if I remember correctly, from last week. But also,
yeah,
when he's been teaming up with Victor Salazar, who is the rider of Boost Cruz, they've been doing very well. They've been having good success.
Yeah, they certainly have, and like I said, this will definitely improve this runner, and I think this is a big look there in that 7th race.
All right, so that's going to be race number 7, the start of the late pick 4 on Saturday night. Chris is going with Boost Cruz at 9-2. We are recording this on a Thursday, and I'm kind of keeping my eye on Remington Park. Remington Park is getting underway on Thursday night. I believe this is the last week of their season. Their season has flown by there as they're wrapping up their season. Ruidoso started last week. We saw some Los Al connections there do well at Ruidoso this past weekend. But are you tackling any other handicapping signals here for the Nightlights and LosAl.com?
Yeah, we're handling like races. I think 7, 8, and 9 at Delta Downs, races 7 through 10, or something along those through 10 at Sam Houston. Of course, the last 6 or 7 races from 6 through 12, I think it is, at Remington Park. So we got some nice selections and try to help you along the way with those simulcasts being piped in and the Nightline program selections and on the website. So try to help you along.
We're going to try to keep you busy here, Chris. All right, thanks a lot. Best of luck with Boost Cruz. I'll see you this weekend at Los Al.
Racing fans, the traditional $2 pick six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. And when there's not a pick six carryover on Sunday nights, we'll add $10,000 to the pick six pool. That means that every Sunday night, Los Alamitos has either a pick six carryover or the $10,000 pick six promo. Plus, our total pools have been gigantic, including a $274,000 pool on March 11th and a $205,000 pool on January 7th. The traditional $2 pick six. A great bet, a great deal. Big time wagering opportunities, always at Los Alamitos.
Burns Ranch is proud to welcome two-time AQHA champion Golden Boy. He joins multiple stakes winner MP Shining, whose first crop are yearlings, and California champion Middle Error, with foals arriving this year. Proven stallions include Separate Interest, off to a good start in 23.
Delight Interest trying to fend him off. Delight Interest comes through in the clutch.
And Fly Through the Fire, a top 3 ranked second crop sire. Let Burns Ranch put you in the game.
Yeah, that pick six has been a popular bet, and it was some great payouts last weekend, especially on the trials night as well. Welcome back to the program. Now joined by the voice of Los Alamitos, Mike Wrona. Michael, how you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Fabulous, thank you, mate. How are you?
Good here, and we're kind of meandering and thinking about what happened last week with the trials. And I do have the list of qualifiers here, and maybe we can kind of briefly touch on what we thought about that night. But Political Rivalry with the fastest time of 17.71.
Yeah, and I'm all about Political Rivalry. Clearly the horse to beat come the final, in my opinion, because he has won races now from an inside draw, gate 2, from an outside post position, and this trial win in the fastest time last Sunday night came from a middle gate. He's 3 for 3, scratched out of the kindergarten final to aim for this bigger pot and the grade 1 status that goes with the Ed Burke million. And in hindsight, it's looking like a masterstroke by Keith Nellison and Heath Taylor, who had several other horses, of course, in the kindergarten final. And they held Political Rivalry out of that race. And the horse really produced the goods and has just been doing everything right across 3 career starts.
Yeah, I think the key is there that he's done everything right. Like, he's worked out the good trips. He's shown the ability to break well. He's shown the ability to finish. He's done it from different parts of the gate. So he's a well-mannered 2-year-old up to this point, and that's usually what you need to win these futurities early in the season. One horse that really caught me by surprise, Michael, and one horse that would upgrade here would be He's a Good Reason. He won the last trial of the night. He matched the final 8th, which was kind of similar to what the early part of the races were doing, and he put up a very solid clocking and that deep into the night where there wasn't producing that many good times.
Yes, and that knocked Just a Fooler out of the final. He was the bubble horse coming into the final race, the horse who had been a hard-charging 4th in the kindergarten Futurity 2 weeks earlier. Broke his maiden, which we knew had to happen pretty soon, in that Ed Burke Million Futurity trial win Sunday night. Another good performance by Just a Fooler, but he got bumped out at the last second, as these things are often excruciating, no doubt, for connections, waiting to see what the final times will be as it comes down to thousandths of seconds.
Yeah, that's actually the only horse that got bumped out of the last final trials. He's a Good Reason was the only one that made it into the top 10, but he caught me by surprise. Kudos to the connections. That was a nice improvement and a very good time considering it was the last final race of the evening. He's a Good Reason with the 4th fastest time of 17:79. There's not a ton of separation as far as from first to the last bubble horse, so this could make some interesting wager opportunities as far as superfectas and trifectas come finals night, the final night back on Father's Day on May 18th. That's when the final will be conducted for the
definitely plenty of depth and intrigue as far as the wider exotics are concerned, pending the post position draw. But honestly, in this instance with Political Rivalry, I'm not going to be too worried about the post position draw. This horse just looks a ready-made racehorse, foolproof so far. And I'm not going to be dissuaded no matter what the post position draw is come the final. I just can't imagine going against Political Rivalry. I want to give a quick shout out, a quick acknowledgement to the hottest trainer on the grounds in recent weeks, Elena Andrade, who The run, the streak, just took a little bit of a hit percentage-wise because Elena had a couple of horses in the trials on Sunday night who didn't win. However, they actually acquitted themselves really well. She had Three's Company, who ran 5th of 8 at 11-1 in the race won by Kevin's Wise Corona. It was a solid midfield finish. And she had another horse, Butter Homes and Garden, who finished 4th behind Just a Fooler at 40-1, really outran the odds. So even though she didn't find the winner's circle, the Andrade barn continues ticking over very nicely. Those horses did not disgrace themselves in really tough spots last Sunday night.
Not at all. And I believe the Andrade barn might have one or two entries on Saturday night. And I think they might have a shot. So congrats to that barn in a very good row, and congrats to the Paul Jones barn, who's also in a good row with the 2 years. The two barns that kind of stand out in the last couple of weeks here at Los Al, Paul Jones and Andrade. And Andrade, what a role she's been in the last
phenomenal
3 weeks, right? Last 3 weeks, I think, would be the hot streak there for Andrade.
Yep.
All right, race number 9. We'll go to your selection here for Saturday night. The start of the late double. Quarter horses, maidens going 300 yards. And I know you like the looks here of Watchfully.
Yes, I think this is going to be a decent value play, Jose. Watchfully had a debut on April 30 off an improving work tab. The second workout was significantly faster and took plenty of money at the windows. I think went off the second wagering choice and had all sorts of difficulties, as you're about to see in the replay we have for you, from post position 4.
Yeah, and she took some money. She was right around 2-1 this night.
Yeah, so she broke in, bumped. She exchanged multiple bumps, in fact, with number 3 trending right. She lugged in, she veered out, and really was almost impossible to ride. That's her on the extreme outside back at the tail. But just in the last little bit, she was starting to work home okay. She ran 4th of 5. But there are several things to point out here, apart from the actual trouble that she encountered. And we have a drone replay coming up momentarily, which will accentuate this. But it's the company from this race. This horse that she's bumping with through the first half of the affair, trending right, the number 3 horse, came out to win next time out. And the first and second in this race were third in trials last Sunday night to the Ed Burke Million Futurity. I refer to Thoughts to Remember, who wins this race we're showing you, and came out to run third to Hot Prodigy last Sunday. And Basking, the runner-up in this race replay, also finished third to HRH Royal Cartel in an Ed Burke trial. So the company lines read very well. Now, here's the drone replay. One from the outside, the red and white silt breaking in and then really gets tangled up repeatedly. Might have even had the hind quarters bumped a little bit. And that's trending right that Watchfully is sort of jostling with for pretty much the whole race and only finished about a neck behind that subsequent winner. So I thought there was a lot of merit with huge scope for potential improvement coming into start 2.
And not only that, we kind of both agreed that the 1240 workout before the debut was very good. The betting public bet her based on that workout. And she's bred to be any kind. World champion, apolitical Jess out of Dynasty Atoll, which makes her a sibling to FTD Dynasty. Yes, that runner and that sire. So, yeah, I mean, pedigree-wise, the workout before the debut, the troubled, you would think we still have not seen the best of this filly.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot more to come. Yeah, you're right. She's out of the same dam of the champion racehorse and sire FTD Dynasty. Now, the favourite on Ed Burgart's morning line has the rail draw. Interesting newcomer to Los Alamitos called Corona Perry's Bar for new trainer Clemente Hurtado. The horse has a couple of minor placings at Turf Paradise, most recently in a $79,000 Futurity final. So clearly there's ability, but there's no local work, Jose, and coming here for the first time with no local work and having to deal with gate 1, it's the type of horse I don't mind taking on and trying to beat. Maybe Corona's Perry Bar can overcome this and win. But at the relative odds, I just think that 5-1 Watchfully is far more attractive.
And we saw last week during those trials for the Ed Burke, there were three or four Arizona invaders that were making their first local start at Los Al under the lights, no local workouts, that were very well meant and well backed, and they just did not fire up to the potential, except one of them. One of them did and ended up winning that trial, but a few of them really didn't grasp the surroundings immediately, and that could be one of the factors here for Corona Perry's Bar.
Yeah, it's just a formula that I like playing against these types of horses. I'm willing to risk them. I'm willing to take them on, and actually the horse I'm most concerned about, who along with Watchfully made my personal list of horses to watch, is number 4 Check and Cartel, off the debut from the rail when extremely green throughout, but took a lot of money in a good quality maiden won by market analysts. So there's certainly scope for improvement also for the 4 horse. Check and Cartel could really take a step forward. I wouldn't mind a little piece of the 4-7 exacta box, to tell you the truth.
I like that. Check and Cartel for Lindolfo Diaz, Oscar Peinado. And again, we saw Jesus Ayala get unseated last weekend, and I would say early first half of the card, if I remember correctly. He walked out fine. The horse galloped out fine. But Ayala was off the remainder of his mounts on that Futurity Trials night, and you see him that he was listed at, he rode this horse, Check and Cartel, and he's off the mounts this week. So hopefully we get to see Jesus Ayala back in the near future.
Absolutely.
All right, that's a look at your selection, and let's see if Watchfully makes it a much improved effort tonight. Second time over the track and second time out in her career as well. The pedigree suggests that we have not seen the best of her. I think based on that trouble trip, we both agree that there should be more there.
Yeah, and again, there was the trouble trip and the horses who finished in front of her. They've all come back, those first, second, and thirds, to perform well next time out. So there's plenty of things that make this an attractive bet for me at 5-1.
All right, Michael, we're already into June, so you got to get those vocal cords nice and ready to go, because you'll be doing double headers towards the end of this month here.
Yes, mate. Yeah, that'll be rolling around before we know it. Always fun having the afternoon action for Los Al, and I'll be certainly keeping a lower profile during those couple of weeks socially.
Yes, I won't have to twist your arm to meet us at Burger Arts every night after the races. As the big time Caesar doubleheaders began on June 23rd, which is just a few short weeks away as we're recording this on June 1st. Michael, great to talk to you as always. Thank you for that analysis and that selection, and we'll see you out there this weekend at Los Al.
Looking forward to it, mate. Hooroo.
Racing fans, the traditional $2 pick six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. And when there's not a pick six carryover on Sunday nights, we'll add $10,000 to the pick six pool. That means that every Sunday night, Los Alamitos has either a pick six carryover or the $10,000 pick six promo. Plus, our total pools have been gigantic, including a $274,000 pool on March 11th and a $205,000 pool on January 7th. The traditional $2 pick six, a great bet, a great deal, big time wagering opportunities, always at Los Alamitos.
Burns Ranch is proud to welcome two-time AQHA champion Golden Boy. He joins multiple stakes winner MP Shining, whose first crop are yearlings, and California champion Middle Error, with foals arriving this year. Proven stallions include Separate Interest, off to a good start in 23.
Allied Interest trying to fend him off. Allied Interest comes through in the clutch.
And Fly Through the Fire, a top 3 ranked second crop sire. Let Burns Ranch put you in the game.
That's right. Yep. The pick six has been tremendous wagering opportunities. In addition to the pick six professor, the pick fours at Los Al has been tremendous. Shout out to the viewers there and the players getting involved. We've crossed the 200,000 mark a couple of times, I want to say, in the last few months.
We have, Jose, even in kindergarten night, it was well over $200,000 on that card. And last week, $190,000, I believe, on Sunday. So all in all, we have had good pick six pools. Last Sunday's pick six, but it's 124,000 total pool in the pick six. And like you mentioned, 2 weeks ago, the average for those early pick fours was over 190,000. Last week was over $170,000. So good pools here at Los Alamitos, Jose.
And the place pick go, I think paid like 40 something hundred on trials night, if I remember correctly. The place pick go was the juicy bet as well. We're one of the only, Los Alamitos is one of the only tracks that still offers a place pick go. And I believe Del Mar is the only major track on the Thoroughbred side that offers it. So it's a fun bet. And I think as long as I can remember, Los Al's been offering for a very, very long time, right, Professor, that place pick go?
Yeah, it's been probably over 10 years, I would say, as well as those dime superfectas, very popular as well here at Los Alamitos. And like you mentioned, the place pick all, and every once in a while we see those that one single ticket that takes the whole pool. And the cool thing about the place pick all is that it's pretty consistent. That pool is very, very consistent.
Yes.
Somewhere around $13,000 up to about $17,000. The people that enjoy playing that place pick all are always in it.
I feel like it's the same 200 group of us playing the place pick all every day. It just feels like, because the pool never misses. Like, the pool is always the same range. It's like if somebody missed out, it's like, oh, like a group of people would be out on a wedding or somebody's out. Like, we're missing those people.
No way.
It feels like it's always the same people getting involved into the place pick all. All right, let's wrap up. Actually, before we talk about a little bit about trials night, Professor, I want to talk about Saturday's card, the featured event. Well, the allowance feature, because my lock of the night is in that spot. And I don't want to let it go in this spot without mentioning it. And let's take a look at that race. Here it is. Race number 10, a quarter horse allowance, 300 yards. In this spot, we do have the morning line favorite is going to be Turbo, which we've seen compete at a very high level last season and even this season. He appears to have been privately purchased now in the barn of Valentin Zamudio, owner and trainer for Ruben Lozano. But I'm liking the looks of future version drawing the outside off the layoff, Professor. Look at his running lines. The last time he raced, he was facing Heath Judge and Jury, the All-American winner, and Party Politics, the winner of the Edinburgh Milling and Golden State Milling Futurity. So this is a class relief, I think, for future version. The question will be the layoff, but I think he could be ready to go here for his first start as a 3-0.
Yeah, even 3 races ago, Jose, he faced Heath Chickless, who is a multiple stakes winner here at Los Alamitos, most recently winning the Grade 2 El Primero del Año Derby. And this horse has been, like you said, the layoff since November, but comes back on May 2nd with a 12.3 workout. That was the fastest of 8 works. Unfortunately, we were not able to record that work, so we don't have an opportunity to see it. But you see that he also had an April 13th work at 220 yards, a 12.5 work. But of course, we have this race here, his last out. That was against the All-American Futurity winner, Heath Judge and Jury. And he actually qualified to the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity off of this trial.
Yeah, and look,
as Midnight Flash is about to compete,
he ends up being the number 8 horse this night. And watch, he appears to hit the side of the gate. I think he was leaning on the outside part of his gate saw. And there he brushes the gate. He breaks out to bump with the 9 horse. And even despite that bad start, I still thought he made a little bit of a middle move here to get into contention. And I didn't think he missed the Superfecta by much. Heath Judge and Jury was the 3 horse getting the win here. And obviously a classy runner. But watch how he's still finishing with interest. A little bit better start. And he could argue he could have been second best in that race.
Yeah, and even if you go maybe another 40 yards, he would have probably been right there in the top 3.
Yeah,
as well, Jose, the way he was closing. You saw that he kind of retreated a little bit midway. He was 6th.
Yeah.
That just means that he was going probably, head bobs throughout that whole point. But he ends up out finishing the 6th place finisher, gets there in the top 5.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid effort. Obviously, we haven't seen him since then. That was back on November 20th. But if you look at his running lines, every other start besides his maiden diploma, where he defeated Corona Rose, who's also in this race, every other start he had significant amount of trouble. He either broke slow and got bumped hard, or he missed a start. But look at the names that we see in those running lines, even from the beginning, Professor. Enhi Tempting, Quirky Bitty Jess, Required First, Chester Carlson, Shy Guy, He's Chickless, Party Politics, He's Judge and Jury. He's been facing some very good horses.
Yeah, Chick's First Flash is also in there.
Yes.
Good Wagon SA. Well, he's been in a bunch of trials in good races. Grade 1 events. So we're going to see a lot of the big names there. You mentioned Valentin Zamudio in number 5 Turbo. He's a big favorite in Ed Bergar's morning line for this race. And Valentin Zamudio, he's had a habit of privately purchasing these horses. Sometimes they end up with Rancho AA LLC or even Victory 3 LLC as well for Valiant, a horse that they privately purchased, if I remember correctly. He went on to qualify to some stakes races for AA Ranch or Rancho AA, and for Victory 3. Some other top horses. I'll read you some of the names that they've had recently. Stuck in Probate, Stella Avenue, Other World, Stolen Lives. Some of these horses they purchased after they made several stars. They've seen what they look like. They know that they're capable performers, and then they go out there and privately purchase them. A couple of these have come from Steve Burns' stock of horses, just like Turbo. And Turbo, if you remember correctly, Jose, 3 times he's been in stakes races.
Yeah, you can see he's got a good resume about himself, and obviously he's a well-bred runner. He's been privately acquired now by Valentin Zamudio, who's had good success, like you mentioned some of those names, and he's listed at 8-5 on Ed Bergard's Spoilerland. So if he beats me, I'll tip my hat, Professor. I'm going with the fresh horse on the outside with Future Version. And your pick 4 selections that you give up for the 9 lines. Did you have a single in the late pick 4, Professor, that you remember?
I don't know if I singled this. I was trying to remember now. Tress of Curl, though. I like in race number 9, the 5, Tress of Curl. May have gone too deep in this one along with Watchfully. But this is a pretty good race here. Race number 9. I'm going to go with the 5. Also trying to remember what's the morning line there, Jose? Is it 5-1 on Tress of Curl?
Tress of Curl, yes, 5-1.
Okay, I'll go with that horse. I like the work. Actually did not win the work, but the winner will win 12-2 and look pretty good at doing that. But Tress of Curl, this breeding line goes back to Runaway Wave, the dam of Wave Carver and Ocean Runaway, a breeding line rich in quarter horse racing history.
And I believe, actually, while you were kind of giving us that selection, I believe I was able to bring up the workout. So we can be able to show it here in just a few seconds. Here it is. So here's the workout for Tress of Curls, 12:30. Do you remember if she was on the inside or outside of this workout? Let me see.
Let's see.
Let me run it. We'll run it here. We'll pick it up as we go. So Tress of Curls here in part of this 2-team set. Paul Jones trainees. And I want to say she was on the outside of this 2-team set.
Yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah. So you can tell she's dueling midway. The inside workmate gradually puts the neck in front. But she looked very light on her feet and very professional, keeping a fairly straight path.
Yeah, and on my notes, I wrote that she came away angling to the outside, but was sizzling quick out of the gate and was very fast into her stride. She went head-to-head. That horse that she went against, Optical Illusion, actually ran second in a trial to the Ed Burke Million last week. Yeah. And he's the one that was on the outside and just came flying on the outside, was right next to that outer rail, if you remember.
Yes.
That was Optical Illusion. So that's the horse that Tress of Curl was working with here. And Optical Illusion went 12-2 and then came back and ran a really good trial race, even with that trouble. Tress of Curl right there showing really good speed.
Yeah, well-meant runner, good worker, good pedigree, and Paul Jones looking to continue his good season with his trios in the last month or so with Tress of Curls. He's got a good role. He qualified 3 runners to the Burke Million final?
Yeah, Kevin's Weiss Corona, Rocking with Energy, and Talk About Something. So 3 of them going in the Ed Burke Futurity for trainer Paul Jones. He's been excited with his 2-year-old crop. He feels it's one of the best that he's had in recent years.
All right, let's move on and recap what happened last week. Let's first talk about Saturday night. Can the Elena Andrade barn be stocked, Professor? Because she found another nice win last weekend here in Los Al.
Well, the answer to that was no, Jose. She picks up her 5th win from her last 6 starters, and it was Disruptor. A horse that she bred out of Elena's mare named Corona Mas Fina, and Disruptor gets the win here with Armando Viramontes up for owners Oscar Andrade, and Steve Burns. So we had a chance to talk to Elena after that nice victory by Disruptor. And here she is talking about this horse that she was part of the breeding of. 5 victories from your last 6 starters, Elena. What a roll you're on. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. It's finally come together. I have a great team right now. It's been a little rough getting started and finding the right, fit and everything. And right now, it's happening.
Let's give credit to the team.
Always. I mean, the vibe is good. Everybody's clicking, and I don't know. Obviously the results are there.
And of course, the horse is performing extremely well. Jessica Cruz with a win recently. Disruptor tonight. Tell me about Disruptor.
He's homebred, so he's pretty special to us. Steve Burns and Joe, my partners, we had to take a step back and figure out what worked with him, and we finally, I think, found the combination.
Speaking of homebreds, Jess Cuss qualified a horse right into the juvenile at Ruidoso.
Lightyear, yes. Yeah, so that's pretty cool to see horses that I've trained previously and their offspring. Jessica Cruz and Gary's bought some of her full sisters, so I'll have those in the coming years.
Congratulations. What's next for the next few days for the
I have a few for next week. A maiden and went off the claim, so we'll see how that goes.
Congratulations on the hot streak.
Thank you.
Well, it's always fun to see, especially like you mentioned. I talked to her early as Disruptor was making his debut early in this, last year, and she said this is like our baby because this is a homebred, so it's good to see him now kind of find that level and get up those wins. So when they're homebreds like that, Professor, it makes it extra special. You could tell by her reaction there with that runner.
Yeah, and just being around Elena, visiting her barn. She's very hands-on on a lot of the horses that she takes care of. She's made the comment that she likes projects. If there's a horse that needs that extra, just that extra care, just those extra eyes, the daily maintenance on those horses, trying to figure them out. She takes that as a challenge, and she puts in a lot of work trying to figure them out. And it's always very rewarding when it pays off, when the results pay off. And she did mention that she was going to have some runners going this week in race 8 on Saturday. That maiden that she was referring to, owned by Gary Laramie, who's the same gentleman that owns Jessica Cruz. The number 1 horse in race 8, Alternative Jess, trained by Elena Andrade. Diego Herrera is going to be up. This horse has raced 5 times, has finished 3rd once. That's been his best result, completed in the Juvenile Challenge, the John Deere Juvenile Challenge last year, a race that was won by Chick's First Flash. It was a big long shot there at 49-1, but this horse has now made 2 starts for the Andrade barn here at Los Alamitos, coming off of a 4th place finish against Zachary Bono, Sparkling Cartel, who's also in race number 8 here, and Elena Andrade now training this horse. Going to be making her 3rd start for the Andrade barn. And good breeding too. That Dynasty Atoll, they paid $50,000 for this horse, Mr. Jess Perry out of Dynasty Atoll.
So that makes this one for a sibling to in race number 9 to Watchfully, the 7, out of Dynasty Atoll, which makes them siblings to FTD Dynasty.
So, FTD Dynasty, exactly right. Yep. Staggering Strides, I believe. I remember that filly won some stakes races here at Los Al.
For sure. So that's a nice pedigree. And the barn, Mike Wrona gave him a good shout out because the barn had a couple of long shots, Elena Andrade on trial side, and they ran relatively well. They made those vertical exotic spay.
And overall for the meet, she's got 7 winners from 31 starters. So she's winning at about a 23% clip. We mentioned Jessica Cruz, who won the James Smith Memorial Handicap last year. To close out the year, she won the Ransom Handicap with Just Being a Friend. We've seen Just Being a Friend in some races this year, doing really good. And some of our other winners recently, Tricks Up My Sleeve, Hubba Hubba, Jassie's Dashing Eagle. So she's had a really good stretch and a really good meet overall.
Tricks Was My Sleeve was my lack of the night, and Hubba Hubba closed a nice pick 3 for me. So those 2 runners bring a smile to my face. They bring a smile to my face. Even George, our equity shark runner, is like, I should have cashed more with Hubba 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 Hubba. Hubba Hubba was nice to our pockets here on for the viewing public, as we gave that one a nice look there on that in the Nightlands. He was my third selection as well. All right, let's wrap up the trials for last Sunday for the Ed Burke Million Futurity. Here is the graphic. Political rivalry topped the fastest qualifiers with 1771. You can see the bubble was a HRH Royal Cartel at 1787.
And I was walking up to go take some photos of the 10th race winner in that race. And I see Juan Tirado Lizarraga, who is the owner of HRH Royal Cartel. Yes. And we haven't seen the time yet, right? No. But he comes out and he's like, I'm going to be 10th. I'm going to be 10th. I'm going to hang on in there. And that was a pretty close finish there. That was like, a couple of horses there, not too far away, enough to kind of threaten that bubble time. But I don't know how he knew, but he calculated it to perfection because he ends up as the 10th fastest qualifier. Huge smile on his face. Of course, Mr. Tirado Lizarraga, the owner of the great sire Apolitical Jest, and also campaign the great Apolitical Time. So he's been around a long time. He's seen a lot of trial races here at Los Alamitos. He knew that he was in the Ed Burke Million. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. He knew.
Well, to me, I'm gonna keep saying that is the most influential claim in the history of the sport, because not only what she did on the racetrack, Apolitical Time, asked herself, but what that line now produced. Apolitical Jest, how Apolitical Jest has produced now, Apolitical Blood, the Sire of Sires. So to me, that still goes down as the most influential claim as far as in the history of the sport. But he probably said this: he's a good reason won by a length and a tail, and about a length in quarter horse racing, depending on the distance and the level of racing, is usually about 0.15. So in his mind, he was like, all right, I'm going to do the calculation to this. I think I've got 10. And he was right.
But we didn't even know the margin yet.
No,
because I was just walking up. He was just walking down. And he already knew. It didn't matter. He probably didn't know the exactly confirm 100%. He was probably already driving down Catella Avenue.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in. I don't need to see the photo. I'm in.
He already knew.
So that's a look at the top 10 fastest times. And speaking of the last winner, Professor, he's a good reason for the family of Heath Taylor and I'm a Fearless Hero. He put up a very good time considering it was deep into the night and everything that happened there, because nobody was really posting as good of final eights deep into the night as the early part of the track. So he's a good reason, moving all the way up to 4th off of the last trial win. To me, that you gotta respect him. You gotta upgrade him off of that trial win.
And his older brother, the great He's a Dash of Fire, actually won the Ed Burke Million Futurity in 2014. He also added the Golden State Million Futurity in his championship juvenile campaign. And I remember Jose Flores, after this horse won one of the early 220-yard races that we had here at Los Alamitos, he said, this horse just a little bit green still. And if I can just get him, to kind of get his mind right, get that greenness out of there, I think he's going to be fine, because everything this mare produces is a good runner. And there she is again, producing Dasha Freda, producing another Grade 1 finalist.
And there's not a ton of separation from first to last, Professor. Look at that. 7071 to 1787 is not a whole lot.
A length, because you were just saying, right? 15 100ths of a second. It's about a length. So there's just slightly over a length between the fastest qualifier, Political Rivalry, and the 10th fastest HRH Royal Cartel.
What can you tell us about Political Rivalry, the fastest qualifier from the barn of Heath Taylor?
Yeah, if we remember, this horse qualified to the Kindergarten Futurity and was a trainer scratch. From that race. That means that the trainer can scratch the horse for whatever reason, because it's a stakes scratch and it's a trainer scratch. So he did that. Heath Taylor did that. I had a chance to talk to him shortly after the trials ended and had to ask him about that whole situation with the decision, because they were in the Grade 2 Kindergarten Futurity with Political Rivalry, and then he shows up in these trials. Okay. Can you share a little bit of information? And he was, as always, he was very candid about the train of thought that led to political rivalry, skipping the kindergarten futurity, and then coming back and posting the fastest time to the Edberg Million. Here's Heath Taylor.
Well, the Night of Trials is in the books, and political rivalry ends up as the fastest qualifier. 3-for-3 wins here at Los Alamitos, all of them impressive here at Los Al, some of them by a huge distances, especially early in his career, but now gets the fastest time to the Ed Burke. First, tell me about the effort and also the decision that he did not run in the kindergarten futurity, a trainer's scratch. That's how it was listed as.
Yeah, the horse has been really professional, showed a lot of precociousness right from the start, and we've been really high on the horse, and he qualified. He fell down in the kindergarten trials, stumbled really bad the first 2 jumps, and he qualified mid-pack. But we were fortunate enough from the same breeder to qualify 4 horses, and just got to thinking. He was looking at the nomination list, and the horse was eligible for $1 million Ed Burke. In this particular year, he didn't have very many horses paid in the Ed Burke, so it became a decision to run. It's not very wise usually to scratch because these races are very difficult to qualify in, but instead of running 4 horses against each other for $270,000, he thought that this horse had won both races pretty easy, so he thought maybe he should take it out. So we discussed it, and I told him, if not, we were going to have to work the horse. So we went ahead and ran the kindergarten trials, and with the hope some others qualified, and they were fortunate enough to. Of course, he probably was the best of the bunch, and that doesn't mean that he would have won. We thought it took our best chance with Think Again Kevin choosing 1 and Kevin's knockout, and they ran 3rd, so we could have possibly left a little bit of money on the table there, but you're talking about 4 horses, and he got a good check for scratching, and so the difference in that and 4th wasn't $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. So freshened the horse up, and then it's a big risk. 10 trials, grade 1, further distance, but took a shot to run in here, and he was blessed to qualify and win. So right now it looks like it was a really good decision.
And of course, qualifying to the Ed Burke Million for a young stallion like KV and Corona, you have to add that into the mix as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that he owns a stallion, he owns a mare, and so the next multiple embryos out of the mare, so helps promote the stallion, and so it's good advertisement still during breeding season. So it's kind of a multitude effect for him as the owner of the stud and the mare. So it turned out well.
Congratulations, enjoy.
There it is. Thank you to Heath Taylor for kind of watching us, guiding us through the top process. And also, let's not forget, he drew the inside post, which could be tough to overcome in some of these finals. So a lot of decisions came into that. And, right now it looks like it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now you have a chance at a grade 1 victory for the stallion, KV and Corona. A horse now has a chance. If he wins this race, that would make him 4-for-4 with a grade 1 victory. As a colt, that gives him an opportunity, right, to be in the battle for some AQHA championship titles. So
yes.
You put that all together, and it's all, like you mentioned, it's always tough to bypass a nice race like the kindergarten futurity. But they're probably looking at the big picture, right? They already had 3 other horses in there. Let's kind of spread them around a little bit.
And we kind of have this same scenario later in the season, right, Professor, where it's the PCQHRA Futurity Finals so close to the Golden State?
Super Derby.
Yeah, the Super Derby, excuse me, yes. So sometimes we've seen where people might opt out to, get out and then, try to go and race in the trials for the Super Derby because of the money difference, depending on what cabin. So sometimes these scenarios arise, and that's one of the cases where it worked out up to this point there with this runner.
Yeah, I have to correct myself. Political rivalry is actually a gelding. So either way, still it would be in contention for a gelding title. But like you mentioned, Forget It is one horse that I can remember that skipped I think I may have had the fastest qualifying time.
I want to say so,
the Breeders' Derby. And they decided, okay, if it was perfect, great race. Now he's ready for the Super Derby trials. Let's skip the final and wait a couple of weeks and go in the Breeders' Derby, Super Derby trials. And the horse did qualify to the Super Derby. I believe didn't win the race, may have finished 3rd, maybe 2nd in that race. But, still an opportunity for that big pot, that $1 million, purse.
Yep. So thank you for getting us those videos there with the connections. Heath Taylor and Elena Andrade as well, as we wrap up what happened last week at Los Al. we look forward to the final of the Edinburgh Million Futurity on Father's Day coming up on May 18th, which also I believe we're going to have the finals for the 1,000-yard finals for the summer for the first half of the year. Let's talk about what's to come the weekend of the 11th, Professor. We got the Grade 2 Abigail Quananacoa, $100,000 purse there for that race.
Yeah, and a nice list of contenders there. We actually have a very busy Sunday because we have the Abigail Quananacoa. We have the I think it's the Checker Twice. It's also on that night, and trials to the vessel's maturity as well. But the headliner would be the Abigail Quananacoa. Let me read a few of the names there. Well, you can see them right there on the screen. CR Lady Moon has delivered some stakes wins here at Los Alamitos. Recently won the Miss Princess. Famous Shining Star. That one won the Grade 1 Charger Bar at the beginning of the year. Got a Corona Jess. Ran a very, very strong race at the Dashing Folly earlier this year. Jessica Cruz, we've talked about her. Now she would be facing older mares. There's a lot of 3-year-olds in this list. On this list, Coalition, she won the Dashingly. It has shown some really nice races here at Los Al. One Sweet Duck, Jose. One Sweet Duck as another 3-year-old filly that could potentially be running in the Abigail. Remember her as a stakes winner. She goes up. The graded Futurity winner and also a stakes winner. Looking to test her mettle against these top mares. Sweet Tess, up to good. A total of 20 nominations. Now, some of these might end up running in the Checker Twice. All of these will be running in the Abigail.
There it is. A list of the nominations for the Grade 2 Abigail Quananacoa. $100,000 purse, 400 yards. And that is part of that very good Sunday on June 11th, competing with the Vessel Maturity Trials and the Checker Twice Stakes. So that's what's to come the coming weeks here at Los Al. Before we know it, it'll be time for the Fred Skane and then the Burke Futurity 1,000-yard finals.
1,000-yard finals.
And then after that, we'll have the daytime doubleheaders. We'll have the daytime season here for the thoroughbreds at Los Al.
Yeah, June 23rd will be the opening day of that thoroughbred meet, the LA County Fair summer meet here at Los Alamitos. June 23rd will run on the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. So a three-day week for that opening week. Then we'll go 4 days in a row, starting on Saturday, July 1st, all the way to Tuesday, July the 4th. We'll have a special Independence Day program. So we'll run on that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then we'll come back on closing week just with a 2-day weekend, Saturday, July 8th, and Sunday, July the 9th.
I have a calendar here to my right, Professor, and I'm looking at that. Tuesday, July 4th. That is news to me. I had not even looked at the calendar, Professor. We're racing on a Tuesday for that Independence Day. So it'll be a fun week there. So that Saturday through Sunday. And also, I've been getting requests or inquiries, Professor, about the handicapping contest that you traditionally run here during that season. Are you going to have one this meet?
Yeah, the day for that will actually be on the day of the Los Alamitos Derby.
Okay.
And that's on Saturday, July the 8th. So it'll be part of the final week of the meet. We'll wait until that nice Saturday with a really nice Derby race. Saturday, July the 8th. Just mark it down right there, Jose.
All right, sounds good. I'm taking my pen right now, Professor, and I'm making a note. There it is. Last Saturday of that daytime season, the handicapping contest. All right, Professor, thank you for those recaps. Fun to catch up, as always, with you. You were in a special assignment. Was it last week? I think you were in a special assignment last week. But thank you for that recap that you had for us about the kindergarten. That was such an exciting finish there, blanket finish in the kindergarten, and looking forward to see how those 2-year-olds develop and where they show up next.
Yeah, we'll see the Edinburgh horses. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them. We got plenty of interviews coming up as we get closer to the big race on July 18th, right? Is that the day of the Edinburgh? Since you got the calendar right there next to you, I think it is Sunday, July 18th. We'll see political rivalry. We'll see something to talk about. We'll see all those Kevin's Weiss Corona. We'll have a lot of nice horses going in that Edinburgh Million final.
Professor, do you have any rumors about who we might see show up in the Vessel's maturity trials? Can we expect any of the big names from last year? Do you have any?
Well, the hot rumor, it's not a rumor, it's Impressum is in town.
Yes.
Back in town after going to Oklahoma for a little bit, made a quick stop at Heath Taylor's ranch in Louisiana. He's back here at Los Alamitos, and there's another horse by the name of Jets that's also in here, and actually had a recent gate work here at Los Al, and he's a Grade 1 stakes caliber horse. And of course, we'll have all the other top runners in action, all their horses here in action. One name that I do not think will be in the Vessels trials is Apolitical Pence. We'll probably see him later in the year.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for that update. And we'll be talking about those Vessels maturity trials come back on Sunday, June 11th. All right. That's a good way to wrap up the show, Professor. Thank you so much for all the information, as we always do try to catch up. Shout out to Nate Estrada. We were able to showcase those videos from the racing office. He stopped by and said hello by the set this past weekend. He enjoyed the show. Thank you to Nate and the racing office for keeping up with the show as well. That was fun to watch last week here for the viewing public.
Yeah, that's the engine that keeps us going. The racing office working with all the great horsemen here at Los Alamitos. So hello to Nate Estrada, Jordan Castañeda, and of course the man there, Scott Craigmile, the rest of the team, Tom Baisley. A lot of good people there working in the racing office.
All right, before I let you go, Professor, Denver, Miami Heat, NBA Finals start tonight. We're recording this on Thursday. Do you think it's a Denver or nothing final, or do you think Miami can put up a fight?
And I'm a Dolphin fan, man. I gotta give my Heat at least one win.
Okay,
it's gonna be tough though. It's gonna be tough.
Is it gonna be a gentleman's sweep, or what? Do you think Miami needs to punch him in the face in the first game?
You know, Miami Heat, they can win the opening game.
Yes.
And if they don't, I don't know. They can win anything.
Haven't they won the first game of every series up to this point? I think they have. I think
don't count them out. Do not count them out. Okay? There's something about that Heat culture.
Mm-hmm. It is.
You know who shows up to a lot of the Heat games?
Who?
Is the Dolphins coach.
Oh, he does?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. McDaniel there pumps up the crowd.
Okay.
He loves the Heat. The Panthers are in the Stanley Cup against the Las Vegas Knights. So good time to be, in Miami sports there. And can't wait for the Dolphins. So come on, man. You're already getting me too excited. We're talking about horses here. Come on.
Yes. And for the baseball fans here in California, the Yankees are visiting the Dodgers. How about that series? That's going to be a fun series to watch here. It's going to be a fun weekend of sports, and hope you come out and watch us here at Los Al and enjoy some nighttime racing with us as well. All right, so we're saying Miami Heat can scare the Denver Nuggets, right, Professor? That's what we're going with.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I like scary team.
By the way, who won the consensus? Who won the consensus last week? There was some speculation where the scoring was different. All these rumors about I don't know. I didn't keep track. I was busy down in the FanDuel set, Professor. Who finished last in the consensus?
I'll give Chris Wade. Chris Wade did a good job.
Yes, he did.
Chris Wade did a good job. Yes. I gotta sit down with him one day and figure out how he does his scoring. He's got his own way of scoring, so I gotta sit with him.
Okay.
And see how he does his scoring. But he did a good job. He did a good job. We did pretty good. The consensus selections were pretty strong.
Yeah, it was a good night for the entire consensus. Good job there to the team getting down to business. All right, Professor, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon, and I'll see you this weekend at Los Alamitos.
Thanks so much, Jose. Have a good night.
Racing fans, the traditional $2 pick six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. And when there's not a pick six carryover on Sunday nights, we'll add $10,000 to the pick six pool. That means that every Sunday night, Los Alamitos has either a pick six carryover or the $10,000 pick six promo. Plus, our total pools have been gigantic, including a $274,000 pool on March 11th and a $205,000 pool on January 7th. The traditional $2 pick six, a great bet, a great deal, big time wagering opportunities, always at Los Alamitos.
Burns Ranch is proud to welcome two-time AQHA champion Golden Boy. He joins multiple stakes winner MP Shining, whose first crop are yearlings, and California champion Middle Error, with foals arriving this year. Proven stallions include separate interest off to a good start in 23.
Delight Interest trying to fend him off. Delight Interest comes through in the clutch.
And Fly Through the Fire, a top 3 ranked second crop sire. Let Burns Ranch put you in the game.